That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. All right, we got to move on to the next story. Okay, so our next story is something I had to add. I saw it in the news and I was like, we must discuss this. And this goes to we talk a lot about, at least I talk a lot about like beauty, body image, and everything. And I think this is just like a really good cautionary tale. So this next story is brought to you by the Daily Mail. Identity of second Texas mom killed by fungal meningitis after liposuction and BBL in Mexico is revealed. Best friend shares heartbreaking loss.
What's BBL? You're gonna explain it?
Say that again.
What's BBL? Are you gonna explain it?
But Brazilian butt lift. Okay. Okay. I in my head I figured everybody knew what a BBL was.
No, not everybody knows that. I just wanted to clarify for the listeners.
Oh, okay. No, that's right. That's true, because there could be somebody who does not know what a BBL is. A BBL is a Brazilian butt lift. It is to make your booty bigger. That's the purpose of it. Why? For the male gaze. But anyway, the mother of Shane Medrano, 31, of Houston, died from fungal meningitis at a hospital on May 16th, 2023. And she is one of 4 Texas women who have died from the infection after they went under the knife in the northern border city of Mataroros. I'm sorry, y'all. Her best friend since the 7th grade, oh, that's so sad, Laura Garza, told Daily Mail that Miss Medrano was complaining about headaches in March after the operation and then died 2 months later following close to 5 or 6 strokes. Oh, that's such an awful way to die. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, believes around 180 Americans who traveled to clinics in Monteros this year could be at risk. And the agency is now urging people to go to the nearest emergency room as soon as possible to be evaluated if they do not have symptoms.
Oh my gosh.
180. So if you're listening, you have gone to get a BBL or liposuction, they're telling you to go to the emergency room to be evaluated, even if you don't have symptoms.
Okay, I gotta go.
Okay. Just kidding. As of June 14th, the CDC reports 6 confirmed cases of fungal meningitis detected from samples. There have been 4 deaths and 2 who are confirmed cases and 2 which are probable. The CDC has warned that anyone given epidural anesthesia, injection into the spine to numb part of the body, during surgery is at risk and should go to the nearest emergency room to be tested, even if they do not have symptoms. The epidural is used in procedures such as liposuction, breast augmentation, and Brazilian butt lifts, which can be more than $16,000 cheaper than in the U.S. The CDC is currently investigating 172 people who may have been infected.
Oh, that's horrible.
It's awful. I think it's so sad. All right, I'm about to get on my soapbox. Here I go.
Go ahead.
I think it's just really sad that we have come to this point that we are doing such dangerous things just to look what we deem to be beautiful in this moment.
Yes.
Because that's what it all is. This is all, you don't get a BBL, you don't get breast augmentation, you don't, and I'm saying this as someone who who possibly one day would want to get something done on her stomach, but you're not doing it for necessarily, like, these aren't health things. Like, liposuction isn't health, if you got the sleeve in your stomach, that's health. But liposuction is not health. A BBL certainly is not health. And breast augmentation is not for health. You can get a breast reduction, that's for health. Getting breast implants is not for health. We're doing all of these things, and I'm going to say it, for the male gaze. I'm sorry. There is, you cannot convince me that women are risking their lives to get a butt implant so they can look good for themselves. It is all for the male gaze. It is all because they want to be valued by men, which is a normal female reaction. There is nothing wrong with wanting to be picked. There is nothing wrong with wanting to be married. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be thought of as beautiful. Where it ventures into not good territory is when you are going out, risking your life to do these type of things. And, there's a lot of people who have different beliefs, like it's a podcast I listen to, these girls, whenever anyone talks about like getting a nose job or getting breast implants or all this other stuff, they always go, you should do whatever you can to make yourself feel beautiful. And there's that belief that, sure, if you truly think you're a hideous beast because your butt is flat, then there's that belief that you should go do it. I am not on that side. I'm on the side of, okay, your butt is flat. That's how God made you. Yeah, it sucks. Maybe you're not getting the type of boys you want, but like that's life. And
wear a skirt, wear a dress,
like do exercises, and just I think people should just sometimes just accept. And once again, like you guys know, I have body image issues up the wazoo. So I'm also just talking to myself, reminding myself. Sometimes you just gotta just accept, like, this is the body God gave you. And that's why I'm such a big fan of being body neutral. You don't have to worry about being body positive. I think I look awful today, but I'm gonna look in the mirror and say, I am beautiful. Ha ha ha. Like, I don't, like, that just doesn't work for everybody. That didn't work for me. So, like, just be body neutral. Like, this is the body God gave me. It is what it is. I'm gonna do my best to take care of it. I like to wear bright clothes. I'm gonna wear bright clothes. I like to wear pigtails. I'm gonna wear pigtails. Not me personally, but like if I'm pretending to be somebody else. I like to color my hair. Let me color my hair. Like that's just kind of like what you like. If you're given things that you think are not acceptable in this moment, because that's the biggest thing. It's in this moment. When my mom was growing up, having a big butt was not a cool thing. To this day, like I've mentioned stuff about like how big butts are in, my mom like does not really believe me.
So
like
funny.
because like growing up, you know, when she was a kid, like that was like, oh my God. I mean, even think about some TV shows, like when someone says someone has a big butt, it's like, oh, you have a big butt. Lips are another perfect example. I've mentioned this before. I remember someone mentioning how my lips were big in such a negative tone, and now, not to brag, this is just like reality, people pay to have their lips as big as mine. But you know, a couple years ago it was like such a negative thing, so people are spending this money to do these things for just the temporary, like what's attractive temporarily, when I think you should kind of just work on what you have. And I'm not saying that like if you get lip injections or Botox, I'm not saying those things are necessarily bad. I just don't think that they're good. I don't want to say they're bad. Like they're not. I don't want to flat out say like they're bad or you're a bad person. I don't think that at all. But I definitely don't think they're good. Think about all these women now who are talking about how they're taking out their breast implants. I mean, what are people gonna be saying about lips soon? You know, all these celebrities are taking out breast implants. All these stories of women whose like breast implants have leaked into their bloodstream or whatever. Think about all that. They're gonna be saying things like that probably about lip fillers too. And once again, like if you really don't like something about yourself, I don't know, other than just like accepting it and like moving forward and stop kind of, I guess, focusing on. I don't know what else to say. But just know you're not alone. Know that like I understand that like there's parts of me that I absolutely loathe about myself. Like I just like thinking about it just like makes my skin crawl. I'm like, oh God, why would you do this to me? I feel that. So like you're not alone in that. But I just really just don't think that spending thousands of dollars for something temporary, because that's the other thing too. Like, you know, I don't think necessarily fat will ever be in, but you know what? For all I know, in 20 years it could be in. And because things just change, you know, like they change, and it hurts my heart, and it upsets me when women are constantly just doing things because doing this stuff because it's truly not something that it's not for health reasons. You can't convince me that it's just for you. It's for male approval, and I know that's probably controversial for me to say. I can see people being mad and like leaving a review because of that, but like that's what it's for.
Well,
and I'm sorry.
It doesn't matter who it's for, really. It matters that you're altering something for something earthly when you've been given a gift. You've been given a gift of a body. You've been given a gift of an able body. You've been given a soul. You've been given abundant gifts, and we're still unhappy. We're still unsatisfied. So I don't think it necessarily even matter. I mean, it's a good question. It's a good conversation, but ultimately changing something that God has given you for any earthly reason, doesn't matter if it's your earthly reason or his earthly reason, that's that's a problem and that's sad because
Yeah.
God doesn't see any of that. He sees your soul. He could care so much less about, your hair or like your skin. It's just sad. It's an insecurity and it just reminds me of like our need for approval, our need to be
Mm-hmm.
accepted, our need to fit in. And
Mm-hmm.
God just gives us so much peace though. And it's so much easier said than done. There are plenty of things, especially like emotionally and spiritually. Not so much physically, but I do struggle with insecurities like emotionally and and spiritually and intellectually and financially. Like I struggle with all kinds of insecurities and so God just offers a lot of peace, but I don't want to sound like I've got it figured out by any means either by offering that advice. So,
Yeah, and kind of to piggyback off of that, like we mentioned it before in the podcast, and I've said it before, like really what matters is how God views us. And
hmm
it's hard, and I'll use, because people reach out, and so I know I'm not talking to avoid. I'm also talking about myself. Like, it's hard to find that balance because the reality is to be married, someone has to find you attractive. So if you're sitting out here wanting to be married and you don't feel as if you're attractive, then there's that balance. But then there's the other aspect of like, what matters most is what God says. And that is really truly what we should be focusing on. Should you take care of yourself? Absolutely. I'm not saying, wear
hmm
potato sack clothes, don't comb your hair.
hmm
I'm not saying
hmm
that at all. Um, but what I'm saying is like, even in the midst of like, just with that like balance, that going back and forth, because I mean, I struggle with this almost daily. I mentioned it on my Instagram, not to keep bringing back my Instagram, but you all should be following me. Um, I like I struggle with this like daily, this balance between like God um cares about my heart. That is the most important thing. God cares about
Yeah.
my character. That is the only thing that's important. How everybody else perceives me does not. It does not matter. Does that still mean you dress like a slob? Obviously not. Does that mean I mean, that's one thing you can't say about me. Does it mean, you don't comb your hair? No. It just means that like you're focusing more on like what's on the inside and kind of just trying not to think about and just forget about how you're being perceived. And I think like if we focus more on that, we can also do that to others. Because I think that's the other problem too, is like part of the reason why people are so focused on like um how they look is because they're doing that to other people. And I think when you're doing that to other people, you're going to do it to yourself as well. So once we like kind of get that idea of like, oh, I have to da 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 da, you're gonna realize like you're gonna open up the world. You're gonna see so many people who you kind of didn't think were beautiful, or people who that never crossed your mind. You're gonna see them in a completely different light.
Mm,
And then you're going to be able to have much more meaningful relationships. You're going to be able to have more meaningful conversation. You're going to be able to take in advice from people who you probably wouldn't not have ever taken advice from. It's just like, it's
yeah,
so eye-opening once we like shift our focus. And I think that's kind of what the big conversation, the big thing I want to take away from this particular conversation is like shifting our focus from um making sure how we're perceived by everybody else to how is God, what does God care about? God truly only cares about what's on the inside. He truly does. But I want to add, don't hear me say don't care about the outside. Don't hear me say that. I'm just saying, like, what is more important is what's on the inside. And if we truly focus on that, and we focus on that for ourselves, and we focus on that with others, it'll drastically change a lot of things in your life.
for
Um,
sure.
so yeah, so that's my 2 cents on that. Let
I love it.
us
Well said.
skip this next story, or actually, mm, I guess we can talk about the story really quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about the story really quick. So our